The bear attack scene in Alejandro González Iñárritu's The Revenant, year 2015, is a visceral and pivotal moment that serves as the film's inciting incident, where frontiersman Hugh Glass, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, is brutally mauled by a grizzly bear while scouting alone in the wilderness. This extended, unflinching sequence, filmed to emphasize raw immersion through long takes and point-of-view shots, depicts Glass encountering a mother bear protecting her two cubs. She charges instinctively, tossing him around like a ball of yarn in a mauling rather than a mutual fight, clawing, biting, and nearly killing him before he manages to shoot and stab her to death. The scene's tragedy unfolds on multiple levels. It's a heartbreaking clash of survival instincts that leaves devastation in its wake, not just for the immediate victims but as a catalyst for the film's broader cascade of loss, betrayal, and hollow vengeance. Below, I'll break down why it's tragic for the bear, for the key protagonists, and above all as a foundational element of the story's themes, tragedy for the bear. At its core, the bear is no villain or monster but a sublime and massive maternal creature driven purely by instinct to protect and feed her cubs, embodying the raw power and commitment of motherhood in the wild. Her attack isn't malicious, it's a natural response to Glass's intrusion into her territory, where he stumbles upon her while she's foraging. In killing her, through gunfire and a knife to the neck, Glass orphans her two cubs, who are left crying helplessly in the forest, likely doomed to starvation or predation without her guidance and defense. This unnecessary death subverts typical cinematic tropes. The bear isn't slain as a triumphant conquest but as a sad, inevitable outcome of human encroachment on nature, highlighting the collateral damage of frontier exploitation. Symbolically, she represents untamed wilderness and protective savagery, her demise evoking a sense of loss for the innocence of animal life amid mankind's invasive greed. It's a poignant reminder that nature's violence is purposeful, for survival, unlike the often gratuitous human conflicts that follow. The mauling leaves Glass mangled and on the brink of death, with severe wounds that render him immobile and dependent on his trapping party. This vulnerability exposes human fragility against nature's indifference, forcing him into a rebirth through suffering, crawling from his shallow grave, enduring the elements, and wearing the bear's skin as a symbol of his merged human-animal spirit. But the true tragedy lies in how it enables betrayal. His companions, seeing him as a burden, abandon him, setting off his quest for revenge. It also indirectly leads to the loss of his son, Hawk, amplifying Glass's profound isolation and grief, as he had already lost his Pawnee wife to violence. The attack shatters him physically and emotionally, turning survival into a hollow victory where revenge fails to restore his family or peace. As a secondary protagonist and symbol of Glass's remaining family ties, Hawk witnesses the aftermath and tries to protect his father during the group's debates over Glass's fate. The mauling's severity prompts John Fitzgerald, played by Tom Hardy, to advocate for mercy, killing Glass, escalating tensions that culminate in Fitzgerald stabbing Hawk to death when he intervenes. This mirrors the bear's protective instincts toward her cubs, creating a tragic parallel. Just as the bear dies defending her young, Hawk perishes defending his father, underscoring themes of familial sacrifice and loss. John Fitzgerald's pragmatic indifference, suggesting to finish off Glass to save the group, fuels his betrayal, including burying Glass alive and killing Hawk. This event exposes his greed and trauma, from a past Native American scalping, leading to his own violent end. After Glass spares him in a nod to divine justice, he's slain by native warriors. The tragedy here is how the bear attack amplifies human flaws, turning survival instincts into moral corruption and self-destruction. Other members of the trapping party, like young Jim Bridger, are scarred by complicity in the abandonment, contributing to the film's web of guilt and regret. Above all, the scene is the film's foundational tragedy. the bear attack scene is the explosive catalyst that launches the narrative into a full-blown tragedy, much like the fateful decisions or initial acts of hubris that ignite the downward spirals in Greek and Shakespearean tragedies. This moment, occurring early in the story, isn't merely a brutal survival set piece, it's the first act that exposes human vulnerabilities, unleashes cycles of betrayal and vengeance, and propels the characters toward inevitable ruin, echoing the structural and thematic hallmarks of classical tragedies where flawed heroes confront fate, nature, or their own moral failings, often culminating in widespread death and desolation. While not literally everybody dies at the end, protagonist Hugh Glass may be lethally wounded, survives as a haunted revenant, and secondary figures like Jim Bridger endure. The film unfolds as a tragic tapestry where most key players meet violent ends, leaving a hollow sense of catharsis amid the wreckage of human ambition and the indifferent wilderness. Below, I'll break this down by examining the scene's role in the tragic structure, its parallels to Greek and Shakespearean forms, and how it seeds the film's cascade of deaths. The bear attack is the inciting incident, setting the tragic chain in classical dramatic structure, rooted in Aristotle's Poetics for Greek tragedy and echoed in Shakespeare's five-act plays. The first act establishes the world, introduces conflicts, and delivers an inciting incident that disrupts equilibrium and forces characters into irreversible paths of suffering. Here, the bear attack functions precisely this way. Hugh Glass, Leonardo DiCaprio, a seasoned frontiersman guiding a fur-trapping expedition in the 1820s American wilderness, stumbles upon a grizzly bear and her cubs while scouting alone. The ensuing mauling, depicted in a harrowing, unbroken sequence of raw physicality, leaves Glass eviscerated, his body broken and spirit tested, transforming him from a capable survivor into a near corpse dependent on his comrades. This isn't random violence, it's a primal clash symbolizing man's hubristic intrusion into nature's domain, much like the initial transgressions and tragedies that invite divine or fateful retribution. The bear, acting on maternal instinct to protect her young, embodies untamed wilderness, a force indifferent to human greed, the trapper's exploitation of pelts for profit. Glass's survival instincts kick in as he fights back, killing the bear, but this victory orphans her cubs and exposes the fragility of life, setting off a domino effect. His injuries make him a burden to the group, prompting betrayal by John Fitzgerald, Tom Hardy, who murders Glass's son Hawk, Forrest Goodluck, and buries Glass alive. From here, the film escalates into a revenge odyssey, with Glass rising from the dead to pursue justice, but each step amplifies suffering, mirroring how an initial act in tragedy spirals into broader catastrophe. Without this scene, there's no abandonment, no quest, no reckoning. It's the spark that ignites the entire tragic arc. Parallels to Greek tragedy, fate, hubris, and inevitable downfall. Greek tragedies, such as Sophocles' Oedipus Rex or Aeschylus' Orestia, often feature protagonists doomed by fate, Moira, or their own overreach, hubris, leading to cycles of violence that decimate families and communities. In The Revenant, the bear attack embodies this. Glass's encroachment on the bear's territory reflects hubris, humanity's arrogant conquest of nature for economic gain, akin to Oedipus defying prophecies or Agamemnon's sacrificial hubris in the Orestia, which unleashes familial bloodshed. The wilderness acts as a fateful force, indifferent and punitive, much like the gods in Greek drama who enforce cosmic balance through suffering. The tragedy extends to the Iroquois tribe, whose initial raid on the trappers, preceding the bear scene but amplified by it, stems from colonial exploitation, paralleling Greek themes of generational curses. The attack's aftermath, Glass's rebirth through agony, evokes catharsis, purging emotions via horror, but leaves no redemption. Survival is Pyrrhic, with Glass haunted by visions of his dead Pawnee wife and son, emphasizing isolation and the futility of defying fate. Like Greek heroes, Glass achieves his goal, confronting Fitzgerald, but at the cost of his humanity, underscoring that challenging nature or fate invites ruin. Echoes of Shakespearean tragedy. Shakespearean tragedies like Hamlet, Macbeth, or Titus Andronicus are revenge plays where an initial wrong, e.g., the murder of Hamlet's father or the sacrifice in Titus, triggers escalating vendettas, moral corruption, and mass death, often ending with the stage littered with bodies. The Revenant mirrors this. The bear attack is the ghostly inciting wrong. Glass becomes a literal revenant, a returned spirit, haunted by loss, driving him to vengeance like Hamlet's ghostly father urging retribution or Banquo's apparition tormenting Macbeth. Fitzgerald's betrayal, fueled by greed and survival instincts, escalates the cycle, akin to the barbaric retaliations in Titus Andronicus, where an initial sacrifice leads to rape, mutilation, and cannibalistic revenge, blurring civilization and savagery. Fitzgerald's scalping trauma and opportunism lead to Hawke's murder, paralleling how personal wounds in Shakespeare fuel decay, e.g., Titus's descent into madness. The film's violence grows increasingly unnatural, contrasting the bear's instinctive attack with mankind's calculated brutality, evoking Shakespearean themes of wild justice turning sour. Yet, Iñárritu subverts the total annihilation of Shakespearean endings, everyone dead in Hamlet. In a way, Glass spares Fitzgerald, letting the Iroquois finish him, suggesting a break in the cycle, but this mercy feels hollow amid the desolation. The user's framing of "everybody dies at the end" captures the film's tragic essence. Even if hyperbolic, most central figures perish, leaving survivors diminished and the world barren. The bear attack seeds this. It kills the bear and dooms her cubs, exposes Glass to betrayal, resulting in Hawke's stabbing, sparks Glass's grueling journey, during which he kills French trappers and others, and culminates in Fitzgerald's death by Iroquois warriors after a savage duel with Glass. A peripheral character like Captain Henry is murdered. In this way, the bear attack isn't just the start, it's the tragic fulcrum, proving that in the wilderness of human ambition, violence begets violence until little remains but ghosts. The bear attack scene serves as a visceral gateway into the film's exploration of euthanasia, not as a clinical or modern debate, but as a raw, frontier-era moral quandary rooted in survival ethics, human suffering, and the blurred lines between mercy and murder. By depicting Hugh Glass as a mangled, barely alive victim of nature's indifference, the sequence transforms a man versus beast confrontation into a catalyst for human characters to grapple with the question of whether ending a life in agony constitutes compassion or cowardice. This introduction isn't overt or didactic, instead, it's woven into the narrative's tragic fabric, prompting reflection on the value of life, the burdens of dependency, and the potential for mercy to mask self-interest. I'll explain how and why the scene achieves this, drawing on its immediate consequences and broader thematic resonances. The attack's brutality leaves Glass in a state of profound, graphic suffering that forces his companions to confront the practical and ethical implications of his survival. Immediate aftermath and the setup of suffering, the mauling, filmed with unflinching realism, showing Glass clawed, bitten, and tossed like a rag doll, renders him immobilized, with gaping wounds, internal injuries, and a throat laceration that reduces him to guttural whispers. He's no longer a leader but a burden, carried on a makeshift stretcher through hostile wilderness. This physical devastation mirrors real-world end-of-life scenarios where pain becomes unbearable, setting the stage for euthanasia as a proposed solution. The group's leader, Captain Andrew Henry, hesitates to finish the life of Glass, and insists on preserving life, but the harsh environment amplifies the dilemma. Resources are scarce, threats from native tribes loom, and Glass's moans evoke animalistic torment, dehumanizing him in the eyes of others. John Fitzgerald, the pragmatic antagonist scarred by his own traumas, vocalizes the euthanasia question bluntly. He argues that Glass is done for and suggests smothering him as an act of kindness, comparing it to putting down a suffering horse. You'd do it for your horse. Why not for him? This is an abstract philosophy, it's a pragmatic pitch framed as mercy, but laced with Fitzgerald's greed. He wants to abandon Glass to claim the expedition's furs faster. Thanks Captain Henry, volunteers are sought to stay with Glass until he dies naturally. Fitzgerald manipulates young Jim Bridger into complicity, then attempts to euthanize Glass by suffocation, only to be interrupted by Glass's son, Hawk, leading to Hawk's murder and Glass's premature burial. Thus, the attack doesn't just injure Glass, it exposes euthanasia as a slippery slope from compassion to convenience, turning a potential mercy killing into outright betrayal. The scene draws a poignant contrast between natural and human responses to suffering. The bear attacks instinctively to protect her cubs, embodying a pure, survival-driven violence without moral deliberation. In contrast, the human's discussion of euthanasia introduces calculated choice, highlighting how civilization complicates death. Glass, donning the bear's skin later for warmth, symbolically merges with the animal, suggesting that true mercy might lie in letting nature run its course rather than intervening, as his revenant resurrection defies the euthanasia logic. Iñárritu uses the attack as the entry point for euthanasia to deepen the film's tragic meditation on human frailty, making it a theme that resonates on personal, societal, and existential levels, inviting profound reflection. By grounding the theme in such a primal, unforgettable act of violence, the film makes euthanasia visceral rather than intellectual. Viewers witness Glass's agony up close, fostering empathy and forcing us to question, at what point does preserving life become cruelty? This mirrors real-world debates on assisted dying, but in a historical context where medical options were nil, emphasizing raw ethics over legality. The tragedy lies in how the attack reveals human divisions. Henry's idealism clashes with Fitzgerald's cynicism, reflecting broader societal tensions between duty and self-preservation. The movie underscores euthanasia's dual nature, as potential kindness or veiled evil. Fitzgerald's argument, while logical in the wilderness's Darwinian logic, exposes how mercy can justify greed or fear, paralleling modern critiques of euthanasia as a cost-saving measure in healthcare. For Glass, surviving the attempted euthanasia becomes a testament to life's tenacity, but at immense cost: loss of son, enduring horrors, prompting reflection on whether death might have been preferable. This ties into the film's critique of frontier capitalism. Just as trappers exploit nature, killing animals for pelts, humans exploit each other, using euthanasia rhetoric to discard the weak. As the inciting incident, the attack frames the entire narrative as a rumination on euthanasia-like choices. Glass's journey involves repeated brushes with death, each echoing the initial dilemma: fight on or surrender. The film's spiritual undertones, Glass's visions, the recurring motif of revenants, invite philosophical pondering. Is euthanasia defying divine will, or an act of grace in an indifferent universe? In essence, the bear attack isn't incidental, it's a masterful narrative device that thrusts euthanasia into the spotlight, transforming a survival thriller into a profound tragedy. In the bear attack scene, the bear charges, pins Glass down, rips into his flesh with claws and teeth, tosses him like a rag doll, and even pauses to check on her cubs mid-assault, underscoring the impersonal brutality of nature. This scene isn't just spectacle, it serves as the film's fulcrum, transforming Glass from a capable survivor into a symbol of abject desperation, forcing both characters and audience to confront the question: when does suffering become so intolerable that death is a mercy? Immediately following the mauling, the film pivots to this ethical quandary, explicitly evoking debates around euthanasia or mercy killing. Glass's companions, led by the pragmatic yet self-serving John Fitzgerald, debate his fate. Severely wounded and unable to speak or move effectively, Glass appears doomed. His ragged breathing and immobilized state suggest a slow, agonizing death in the frozen wilds. Fitzgerald argues vehemently for a merciful end, framing it as a practical necessity to avoid burdening the group amid threats from pursuing Urukhara warriors. Captain Andrew Henry initially agrees but falters when attempting the act himself, unable to pull the trigger on what he perceives as a still vital man. Instead, they leave Glass with his son Hawk and 2 volunteers, including Fitzgerald, who soon betray him. Fitzgerald murders Hawk and buries Glass alive in a shallow grave, abandoning him to die. This sequence raises the specter of euthanasia not as abstract philosophy but as a gritty, frontier dilemma. Should one intervene to end irremediable suffering, or does such an act rob the individual of agency and potential redemption? Inari 2, drawing from the real-life ordeal of Hugh Glass, uses this to probe the boundaries of human endurance. Is euthanasia a compassionate release from a desperate life, or an arrogant presumption against the resilience of the human spirit? The film's resounding answer leans toward the latter, positing that even the most desperate existence can be redeemed through sheer will, and that the wounded individual's determination is paramount in overturning seemingly irreversible doom. Glass's survival arc becomes a testament to this, as he claws his way out of his grave, literally resurrecting himself in a rebirth motif that echoes religious symbolism, Lazarus or Jacob wrestling with God, as some interpretations suggest the bear attack represents a divine trial. His journey thereafter is a grueling odyssey of improvised survival, cauterizing wounds with gunpowder, eating raw bison liver for sustenance, floating down icy rivers to evade pursuers, and enduring hallucinations of his deceased Pawnee wife, who whispers encouragements. A mantra, repeated throughout, underscores the primacy of personal volition. Glass's will to live isn't fueled solely by revenge, though that's a catalyst, but by an intrinsic refusal to surrender agency. In philosophical terms, it aligns with existential ideas of finding meaning in suffering, much like Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, where survival hinges on discovering purpose amid despair, transforming passive victimhood into active defiance. The movie implies that euthanasia, as proposed by Fitzgerald, would have prematurely extinguished this potential, denying Glass the chance to reverse his fate through grit and unexpected alliances, a Pawnee survivor who aids him, symbolizing communal mercy over isolated judgment. On a deeper level, Inari 2 weaves this into broader themes of mercy, forgiveness, and the human condition against nature's indifference. Revenge, often misread as the film's core drive, functions as misdirection. The bulk of the runtime dwells on Glass's solitary struggle, where small mercies, a shared meal with a native scavenger, snowflakes caught on the tongue, a creek's refreshing flow, illuminate gratitude amid agony. These moments contrast Fitzgerald's worldview, where mercy-killing is a cynical shortcut born of self-interest. With Glass's evolving ethos, endurance fosters forgiveness, as seen when he spares, in a way, Fitzgerald's life, leaving vengeance to God, or fate, embodied by the Urukhara. Symbolically, the bear attack initiates this purification. The bear, a force of untamed wilderness, cripples Glass but strips him of illusions, forcing a confrontation with mortality that reveals life's tenacity. Birds circling post-attack evoke spirits of the departed, hinting at a spiritual dimension where the will to live bridges the physical and metaphysical, rejecting euthanasia as a denial of this transcendent potential. Ultimately, the Revenant critiques euthanasia not through moralizing but through visceral storytelling. Glass's desperate state proves illusory, reversed by his indomitable will, which harnesses nature's harshness, using a horse's carcass for warmth, rather than yielding to it. This affirms that the wounded's agency, manifest in breath, fight, and purpose, can alchemize despair into salvation, challenging viewers to reconsider when life is truly unsavable. In Inari 2's lens, survival isn't mere biology but a philosophical act of rebellion against entropy, where the human spirit's persistence outshines even the most compassionate intent to end it. We
It's weird here.